Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Superboy Legacy podcast on YouTube. And today we have something a little bit different, something we've not done before. We thought it might be a bit fun to do a caption contest, and we shared it on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And we're going to read out all the responses and then decide which one is our favorite. After that, we are also going to be getting into a certain Easter egg in Lois and Clark and discussing that a little bit. And we'll probably devolve into talking about Picard Season 3 at some point as well. So stick with us. Hope you enjoy the episode. But let's start off straight with the caption contest. Do you want to read the first one, or shall I?
I'm gonna do all the ones from Instagram. Tom's gonna do all the ones from Facebook.
Yep. And YouTube, we didn't get any responses. We had a bunch of likes, which is nice, but I guess people are commenting on the Instagram, which is fine. I didn't expect people really to get much of a response on YouTube, purely because I don't know how many people even use the community tab and can see those posts. Yeah, I didn't even know they existed for a long time. So anyway, take it away, Chris, with our first caption.
Okay, so the first caption comes from the Rob76, and it says, Lone Star did it better. I'm guessing it's probably related to the character of Lone Star from Spaceballs.
It's been a very long time since I've seen Spaceballs. It's, despite being a Star Wars fan, it's probably still my least favorite Mel Brooks movie. I know that might be,
sacrilegious
to say. Yeah, a bit sacrilegious, a little bit. I don't expect that to be a very popular opinion. But yeah, I don't know. The jokes just don't hit quite as well in that movie as Mel Brooks' other works, like Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, Dracula Dead and Loving It, There are a ton of...
I love Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yeah, me too. It's just... Yeah. And it's funny. It's one of those films where I think even... is it Peter McNichol is the actor that plays Renfield?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think he's brilliant in it. But he's always good. He's one of those character actors. Every time I see him, I think he's bloody good. I like this guy.
Yeah, and let's not forget the amazing Leslie Nielsen as Dracula.
I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, he was just fantastic. And the little pokes at, the Gary Oldman Dracula, how when he comes in with the big Gary Oldman-esque wig, and he keeps referring to it as his hat throughout the film, which is really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love Dracula Dead and Loving It. Even though a lot of people might see it as one of his, worst movies, I really like it. I've got a soft spot for it. And some of those jokes just... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was in a bad mood the one time I watched Spaceballs, but I've just never gone back to it. But yeah,
we'll have to do a watch party with that, you and me, one day.
Maybe. I think if I still don't enjoy the film, it's going to be kind of a boring commentary for people to watch. But I'll probably just wind up irritating people because I'll be like, yeah, I don't know. Or just irritating people because I'm not laughing. Anyway, Lone Star did it better. That was the Rob76. Thank you so much for your response. And moving over to Facebook now for the top comment on Facebook. Bruce Wayne says, "Nice S, little guy," which, yeah, I think he's playing a little bit of a innuendo in that.
Yeah, I think we know that's what he's doing.
Yeah. It did make me chuckle, so I did like that one. But since that was a short one, shall I just read the next Facebook one as well, and then we'll move back on? Because there are more of them on Instagram than Facebook, so but only by like one or two. Anyway, Harvey DeMar Stubbs Jr. says, "I told you I will pay you back next Friday," which I kind of like as well. It's Superboy's. Yeah, makes you think like, he's being held maybe in front of some sort of intergalactic loan shark or something.
Yeah.
I like it. It's
What would have made it even better is if he'd said, "I shall gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today."
See, that's another movie though that I think is underrated. The Popeye movie with Robin Williams. I think it's batshit insane, but that's kind of what I like about it.
And speaking of batshit insane when it comes to that movie, do you know that the set of Sweet Haven is still standing after 40 years?
I know. I'd love to visit it one day, but I don't even know where it is. I assume it's in the US somewhere.
No, I think it's in Malta.
Wow. Well, so it's actually slightly closer to me, I guess. Is it? I don't know.
Still
Geography was never my strong point, so I assume Malta's somewhere in Spain, which is pretty close.
Fairly close, yeah.
Yeah. I think it only takes about an hour and a half on the plane to get to Spain, so that's not too bad.
But, it's closer for you than it is for me.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll have the money and I'll be able to go down and visit it. There's a ton of places though that I'd love to go and visit. Like some of the places like the like where they shot Deadwood, like the Western town. I never even watched Deadwood, but I love the idea that there's this like sort of Western style town that's kind of been preserved just so they can film stuff on it. Just as a fan of movies, I think it'd be kind of a fun place to visit. But anyway, if you want to go for the next Instagram caption.
So please tell Mr. Muscles that I am not interested in a timeshare. That's from Benjamin Perlman.
I like that one. It's kind of a running joke that timeshare salesmen are kind of heavy-handed, shall we say? Aggressive is definitely a good word for it. I like that.
I mean, come on. Alf did an entire episode about a timeshare guy.
I mean, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia did it as well, and that was a pretty fantastic episode, I must say. It's one of my favorites.
I don't know. I stopped watching. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia after the episode where they went to the boardwalk.
Right. I can't remember if that was before or after this episode, but that was the Jersey Shore one, wasn't it?
Yeah, when they went under the boardwalk and found the two homeless guys. I was like, okay,
that's a great episode.
Something I want to be watching.
It's the episode with Rumham. How was that the episode that made you switch off? I love the Rumhams joke.
Two homeless guys down underneath. I didn't want to watch that.
It's not like you saw everything.
We show it. We show all of it. Because what's the one major thing missing from all action movies these days, guys? Full penetration. Guys, we're going to show full penetration, and we're going to show a lot of it. I mean, we're talking, graphic scenes of Dolph Lundgren really going to town on this hot young lab tech.
And it's like the three of them, while they're shocked, they're also nonchalant about it.
It's a running joke in Always Sunny. They make jokes like when they go under the bridge in Philly, like they find similar sort of things. I like the show for the dark humor. It's pretty much the only show on TV that has that for me these days. I'm sure there are others, but it's just the one I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
But, anyway, on to the next Facebook one. Thank you, by the way, to Benjamin Perlman for the Mr. Muscles timeshare caption. I like that one a lot. In fact, that's my favorite one we've actually read so far. I'll just put that out there. So right now, you're the one who's in the running to win the title of Superboy Legacy VIP for however long it takes before we do another one of these. Anyway, on to the next one. Robert Dougherty says, "Can I get a mani-pedi after this?" Which is kind of fun, It's making out like he's at some sort of what do you even call it? Spa? He's on a spa day or something, and I guess they just have their staff dressed very elaborately. But either way, it's a fun image. It made me laugh.
Yeah, it just makes me think, who's the one who's asking for the mani-pedi?
I'm guessing Superboy. I'm guessing the other guy is like a masseuse or something. He's certainly got her holding him by the neck, Maybe he's getting a slight massage or something. But either way, I liked that one, and thank you, Robert Dougherty, for your response. Yep. And Yep. If you want to take the next one from Instagram.
Yes. The next one comes from Carl Cooper 3635, and it says, "Look, I'm Superboy. I don't need a membership in the Sylvester Stallone Rambo gym."
Yeah. Makes sense, you know. I like the whole Rambo thing because even though, you know, Rambo didn't dress like the guy behind Superboy, but I mean, he's got the head, he's got like a band around his head and all of that. But
Yeah.
it's just enough that I like it. And it feeds into just something that is true about Superman as a character. He doesn't need to go to the gym. He doesn't even really need the muscles, you know. Really, Superman should be quite skinny because there's very little that can actually, you know, test his strength. There's nothing, you know, he doesn't have to, you know, strain quite so badly. Which is something that I've heard said about Spider-Man as well. It's like why Spider-Man doesn't need to be super roided out or anything. He can be quite skinny because it works. He's got such super strength that his muscles just aren't having a chance to build. But yeah, I like that because I like that caption because it worked on multiple levels. So thank you very much again, Carl Cooper, for your response. And let's move on to the next one. Keith Lewis on Facebook says, "Once again, Bubba, I'm not your girlfriend." Which, again, I quite like it. The thing I like about all the responses that we've had so far is that they found the tone that I was hoping people would. Like they're quite cheeky. You know, I love when caption contests go cheeky. Maybe it's not all PC, you know, but you can tell it's all in good fun and it's good natured. And I just love that people are getting cheeky with it because that's exactly what I was hoping for. And when we do the next caption contest, you can bear that in mind if you want to sway our vote on who's the best one. Just make it as cheeky as possible.
Yep.
But, yeah, on to the next one from Instagram.
Okay, so this one is from Cosmo_Wrestling. "Your Honor, I'm very sorry, but I thought he was really He-Man."
And, you know, graphic scenes of Dolph Lundgren really going to town on this hot young lab tech.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Cosmo Wrestling. Yeah, I thought he was really He-Man. Yeah, I like it. He's right. It's a very Masters of the Universe sort of costume. Yeah, I like that one. Even though I've never really been a huge He-Man fan.
And
I like
it has a double meaning because remember, He-Man's first comic appearance was in DC Comics Presents with Superman. So
is that right? I did not know that.
Yep.
That is cool. Yeah. So it works even on an extra level that Cosmo Wrestling, you'll have to let us know if you intended it that way. But maybe just claim you did anyway, you know. Take credit for a good idea.
Yep.
Anyway, on to the next one from Facebook. Mark Stephen Pierce Jr. says, "Don't get hard, Phil. But my name isn't Phil. I know. I'm Phil." Yeah. Hey, Tom here during editing. I realise, probably due to some lag, thanks to recording this over Wi-Fi, we did talk over each other a little bit on the reading of this one, so let me just read it out again. It says, "Time for your prostate exam. Okay, Phil, don't get hard. But my name's not Phil. I know. I'm Phil." Yeah, that's the caption. I like it. Maybe if each of the parts of it were in separate quotation marks or something, so it was more obvious.
Yeah.
It's back and forth. But yeah, no, I get it now.
Yeah. Hey, you wanted cheeky, so that's pretty cheeky.
That is definitely cheeky. So, you know, Mark Stephen Pierce Jr., you are in the running right now. So yeah, do you want to go for the next one from Instagram?
Yes, the next one on Instagram is from Orion_Prime01. And it says, "Son, we are the Marines. Now you are with some true Superman."
I like that. Yeah. You know, pride in the military. I like, you know, I never think that's a bad thing. I don't know if that one made me laugh, but I like it.
Yeah.
It made me smile, which is good. So Orion Prime, thank you so much for your response. And on to the next one, which is actually the last one from Facebook. Charlie Soffer says, "You call that a Vulcan death grip?" I like it. As a Star Trek fan, I like it. I appreciate it. I think that's a good one.
Yep.
Anyway, back to Instagram.
All right. So the next one from Instagram is not exactly part of the caption contest. It's just you're taking me back to good old 1988.
Ajax 275 said that, and
yeah,
that's kind of what we try to do here. You know, we love Superboy, and anything we can do to keep the magic alive. That's what we do. So thank you for your comment, even though it wasn't a caption. Anyway.
Excuse me. The next two are actually, these are actual captions. So the first one is from Batman of Oz. It says, "Hold on, little guy. I saw Batman first."
I like that one. Yeah.
And thank you for that one, Batman of Oz. That's really good.
Yeah, that is a good one. Since there's no more on Facebook, I might as well just read another one of the Instagram ones. This is from Mighty Thor 9913, and his caption is simply, "I don't care what you say. My S curl is iconic." And yeah, I have to agree. And it's funny because Gerard Christopher in this picture, he's not just got the one S curl on his head.
Yeah.
Because it's season 3 and 4, he's basically got about 10. Just 1, 2, 3 going across his head. Yeah, I agree. And I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah, that's all of them.
Now, before we say which our favorite one is from either Facebook or Instagram, again, should we talk a bit about how we choose our individual picks? Because, like I said, I'm going based on cheeky. I like cheeky humor.
So same here. I mean, whatever makes me laugh the most, and whatever is the most cheeky. That's what's gonna sell it for me.
And what I especially like is when it's something I didn't see coming, but completely 100% works for the image. And yeah, we've got some really funny viewers. Like, I've been impressed by some of these. But yeah, I'm going for cheeky, and I don't know. I think the one that I like most is maybe the Mr. Muscles timeshare one, just because the image tickles me a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
I like that one. So Benjamin Perlman, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone else. But Benjamin Perlman is officially Superboy Legacy Fan of the Month or something. Maybe I'll put his name at the top of the video saying VIP viewer Benjamin Perlman for the next couple videos, just so his name is in them. I think that would be a nice little thing to do. We can't afford to send out actual prizes, so it's the best we can do. But yeah, thank you all so much for your responses on this one. We've had a lot of fun reading them through. And yeah, I don't know what the caption contest will be.
Something next time we do this, and you guys want to do something, just remember, the cheekier, the better.
Yeah,
but still keep it clean.
Innuendo rather than swearing, and even though we swear on the show anyway, but it's innuendo is cheeky humor. It's not rude humor or blue humor. It's I think that's the distinction.
And we certainly don't want to make this a red band video.
From behind, 69, anal, vaginal, cowgirl, reverse cowgirl, all the hits, all the big ones, all the good ones. And then he smells crime again. He's out busting heads. Then he's back to the lab for some more full penetration. He smells crime, back to the lab, full penetration, crime, crime, full penetration, crime, penetration. And this goes on and back and forth for 90 or so minutes until the movie just sort of ends.
That is brilliant. That is the most
brilliant movie I've ever heard in my life.
I think audiences are going to be very uncomfortable seeing Dolph Lundgren's naked penis going into this young girl that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's more. We talked a bit about Mel Brooks earlier, but it's more Mel Brooks than American Pie. That's sort of what we're looking for, I guess. But yeah, thank you all so much again. Benjamin Perlman, your name will be at the top of the screen here, hopefully somewhere at the moment in this video. And I'll keep it there for the next few, if I remember when I'm editing. Hopefully I will. Just as a thank you for taking part. Anyway, should we move on to another topic? Should we talk a bit about Superman and Lois?
Absolutely.
So we've been discussing this a little bit. Obviously, if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, I have uploaded the clip in which it appears. But in the latest episode of Superman Lois, at the time we're recording this on the 30th of April, there was an Eckworth Industries tanker truck. Is that what they call them? It's like a big, and big bold letters across it, Eckworth Industries. And I googled it just to see if there was another Eckworth Industries in DC, and nope, Superboy is the only one, apart from obviously the tie-in comic. And we're a little bit disagreeing. You think it might just be a coincidence, but I kind of think that it just means that someone involved in the show is a fan, and maybe they snuck it in.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. It's just given that what we know that DC and Warner's have been trying to bury the show as much as possible over the last 20, almost 30 years,
something like that. Yeah, I still don't believe we would have the DVDs even at this point if it wasn't for the fan campaign. Like there was like petitions and all sorts of stuff. I don't think if it wasn't for that, I don't think we'd even have it now, which would be really a huge shame, because it means I would still be watching on those bootleg DVDs in even worse quality than the actual DVDs.
Yeah.
But between this thing happening though and Titans having Kevin Kiner reuse his Superboy theme for that show, it's Kevin Kiner, so maybe he just thought, I'm doing another Superboy theme, maybe I'll just reuse my old one. It would be a nice little nod to where he started. But I just think between that happening and the fact that he got away with that for Titans, and now we've got this Eckworth Industries thing in Superman and Lois, I think maybe it's just a sign that things are starting to turn around a little bit. Maybe Warner Brothers isn't quite so embarrassed by it anymore. I don't know, maybe some of the people at Warner Brothers, the reason they were burying it is because they were like, oh, well, I've not seen this show. I'll give it a watch to see if maybe we should promote it. And they stuck on the first season and were turned off by it, which unfortunately is what a lot of Superman fans feel when they try to watch the show for the first time. The first season is difficult to get through, I say that as someone that's flat out obsessed with this show.
Yeah, there are episodes in season 1 that are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And then there are episodes that are like, what the hell?
Yeah.
There's
episodes like Hollywood, and the first Mixes Pitlick episode, Luther Unleashed, and
the Alien
saga. What was that?
The Alien episodes.
Yeah, all 3 of those were great. There are some really, really good episodes in the first season, but unfortunately, they're surrounded by bad ones. So I wonder maybe that's part of why Warner Brothers did. And also maybe it was partly because they didn't appreciate the ongoing lawsuit for a long time between Warner Brothers and the Salkinds involving this show. Maybe they, I know that the Salkinds were suing for a very long time about the show being cancelled and all of that stuff, even though I think Mike Carlin has said that it was always planned to end after 4 seasons, but I guess the Salkinds just changed their mind at some point. I don't know. I don't know enough about that lawsuit to really speak on it in depth.
Yeah, and I'm no legal expert myself. I just know what I like, and you know what? Yes, there are some really, really dogs of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
There is no question. Yeah, there's no question about that. But you know, the fact that when they finally decided to release the final season on DVD through Warner Archive, they got Gerard Christopher to come in and sign the liner, the insert, on the first, I think it was like first 2,000, 3,000.
I didn't even know they'd done that. So it's pretty cool they did that at all, really.
Yeah. And I have both versions. I have the unsigned and the signed.
Nice.
So
I've
theoretically,
only obviously got the unsigned version because I bought it so late.
Yeah. So theoretically, I don't ever have to go to a convention to get his autograph. I could, just say, "Oh, I got his autograph. It's on the DVD."
Yeah. And I've got a signed picture from him that Sam very kindly got him to sign. So that's nice. So yeah, I don't need any more autographs, I guess. But no, I didn't even know they'd done that. That's a pretty cool thing for Warner Brothers to have done. I guess it didn't pay off for them. I guess they didn't sell enough. Who knows? Maybe if the DVD had sold really well, they would have embraced it a little bit more.
Well, I know that they did run out of the autographs fast because you could get either the autographed or the unautographed, and I ordered both. So I know that the autographed ones went out quick.
And I hope that there are many Superboy fans watching this at the moment that managed to get those autographed versions. If you did, maybe you could take a picture and share it in our Facebook group or something. I'm sure people would, it's the kind of thing we like to see. I always like when I see people posting their signed photos or signed anything. It's always fun. So yeah, if you happen to be one of the other people that has an autographed version, maybe you could tell us about it. Are you pleased with your purchase, or do you kind of wish that you just bought the unautographed one and gone to a convention and got him to sign it there? I don't know how the price would compare. I assume it would be cheaper just to buy the autograph from Warner.
If I recall, when they were selling the DVDs, I think it was $29.95 for the unautographed, and then $34.95 autographed.
So it's only like a difference of like $10, really, less than that.
$10, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like a good deal because let's face it, if you go to a convention, I'm guessing you'd be paying $20-$30 at least.
Depending upon how much Gerard charges,
I have no idea how much he charges. Let's put that.
Yeah,
purely an estimate. If you've met Gerard at a convention and you know how much he charges for autographs, maybe you could let us know.
We do have that member in the group who actually appeared in the back issue.
Right, yeah, Back Issue magazine. Obviously, a few weeks ago we talked about this on the podcast.
Yes, Sassy Ann 2002.
When was that?
Sassy Ann 2002. She actually appears in the issue. There's a picture of her
she's
and
one of the
Gerard
first,
together.
Yeah, so Sassy Ann, if you're watching, let us know.
And you can remember how much you paid.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've even been to a convention. It was before COVID the last time I went. So, well, actually, no, that's a lie. There was that very small convention that I went to, and I talked about how crap it was on the podcast.
Yeah.
I probably won't be getting invited back to that one. I wasn't invited anyway. I had to pay like everyone else, but Yeah. Not the best convention. That was the last one I went to, though.
Yeah, I go to a convention every year. I mean, I went to EternalCon last year, and then I went to it the year before. Was it the year before I went back? No. This was this one was the first time I was back since COVID started.
Yeah. So let us know. I'm purely estimating at $30. That seems like a decent.
Yeah,
that seems on the low end for a lot of these celebrities, to be honest.
When I first started going to conventions, this was back in the early 2000s, going to Icon. Most of the celebrities were charging $20, $25, which is fairly reasonable, and that was every single celebrity. The only one who charged more was Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers himself.
Right.
But that was because I wanted to get a picture with him. and he said, I'll take the picture with you, but I do charge for it. It's $15. The money that I get for the pictures goes to Heritage House, an organization that helps abused women. I was
for a good cause. $15 is also a pretty good deal, I think, for a photo with a celebrity. I remember when Stan Lee visited the one in London. I think my friend paid about 130, $150 for a photo and an autograph. It's Stan Lee, so you can understand. I do still regret that, I just didn't have the money to do it myself because, I've missed my chance now. But I was always more of a DC guy anyway,
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Stan Lee, but I still probably would have preferred to meet like Jerry Siegel or Joe Shuster or Bill Finger would be great to meet. I'm not particularly sore that I never met Bob Kane, to be honest, because I don't have that much respect for him anymore.
Especially now that we know all that we know.
Now that we know that it was basically Bill Finger invented everything but the name, Yeah.
And even Kane didn't invent the name, really.
No.
But the most I've ever paid for anything was the year that Shatner was at Eternal Con.
I mean, it's Shatner, I was about to say he's, the original Enterprise captain, but I guess that's technically Pike. But
well,
what's his name? The original guy that played Pike, Jeffrey something, I think.
Jeffrey Hunter.
Jeffrey Hunter. He was fantastic, I don't even know if he's still around.
Oh no, he died in I think 1969.
Whew, Jesus. That's a lot later, like earlier than I thought. I expected if he was gone, maybe it was in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, let me just double check.
That much older than Shatner, was he? He must have died very young.
Well, let's find out. I got the Google right here.
Yeah. 69 was the last. Yeah, 69 is when he died.
Yep, May 27th, 1969.
So, if Pike had continued as captain of the Enterprise, Star Trek would have just died with him because there's no way they would have made the movies without the captain.
Yeah, but then again, had he done the show, he might not have been in the house that he was in where he had the accident that killed him.
That is true as well. Yeah, rest in peace, Jeffrey Hunter. The first Enterprise captain, and I'm not counting Archer.
Yeah,
that's technically a retcon that came much later. But,
it says it right here. While in Spain in November of 1968 to film Cry Chicago, a story about the Chicago Mafia, Hunter was injured in an on-set explosion when a car window near him, which had been rigged to explode outward, accidentally exploded inward. Hunter sustained a serious concussion. According to Hunter's wife, Emily, he went into shock on the flight back to the United States after filming and couldn't speak. He could hardly move. After landing, Hunter was taken to Good Samaritan Hospital in Los Angeles, but doctors could not find any serious injuries except for a displaced vertebra and a concussion. On the afternoon of May 26, 1969, Hunter suffered an intracranial hemorrhage while walking down a 3-stair set of steps at his home in Van Nuys, California. He fell, knocked over a planter, and struck his head on the banister, fracturing his skull. He was found unconscious by Frank Bello, an actor and friend of Hunter's, who came for a visit, and taken to Valley Presbyterian Hospital, where he underwent brain surgery. He died at about 9:30 the following morning at the age of 42. So if he'd been doing Star Trek at the time, he wouldn't have been in that movie Cry Chicago.
No, you're right. So, he might still be with us. Yeah.
At this point, he probably would be in his 90s.
Yeah, but look at Shatner. Like, Shatner does not look like he's 92 or however old he is. He looks like, I saw a comment on Reddit the other day and someone said it was a photo of Shatner today. And it says like, wow, he looks like he's in his 50s, but he's also a full-blown alcoholic.
Yeah.
Which is still damn good for a 92-year-old, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
he looks like a 50-year-old with a drinking problem, which is still a hell of a lot more impressive than, you know, a 92-year-old with a drinking problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me laugh, even though it's quite dark. But now Shatner looks phenomenal for his age, really. And the fact that he went to space last year as well, in his 90s, that's nuts. Even if they didn't leave the upper atmosphere or whatever and technically enter space, because I think a lot of these space flights are technically right on the cusp. But yeah, either way, good for him. You know, I may not be a fan of Jeffrey Bezos or Amazon in general, really, but good for Shatner. He got to go to space.
Yeah.
But yeah. Jeffrey Hunter, rest in peace again. Just brilliant as Pike. But like, you know, we were talking about autographs and how Shatner was probably the most expensive. It makes sense because he is who he is. You know, I would expect Patrick Stewart to be along the same prices, especially maybe even more now.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not so much after the first 2 seasons of Picard, but certainly now that season 3's out and people really seem to love it. I still think Strange New Worlds is my favorite of the current era Trek shows. But,
yeah, you know, there's a problem that even though I like Strange New Worlds, there is a problem that I have with that first season.
Chapel.
Well, not just
I remember you saying about Chapel before.
Yeah, Chapel is, you know, while we all know that from the original series, she was flirting with Spock all the time.
Yeah.
So the flirting that she's doing, okay, it makes sense. But at this time in her life, she was engaged to scientist and archaeologist Roger Corby.
Yeah.
Why are they making it that there's no such person as Roger Corby?
They're just retconning it, I guess.
Which
you know, they've got the right to do, but it's a little bit irritating.
Yeah, it's a show being produced by Alex Kurtzman. He's a Star Wars guy. He's not Star Trek. He doesn't know his Trek. Okay, this would have been better if
supposedly though he had very little to do with the first season.
Yeah,
apparently he was very hands off. Supposedly season 2 he's a little bit more hands on. So we'll see if season 2 completely shits the bed.
Yeah, well,
you know, I hope it's good. But
you know, and just from the footage that we've seen from the trailer for season 2, the whole thing about Jim Kirk not knowing about a revolving door and then saying, I'm from space. No, it's been established in canon in the Prime timeline that you're from Iowa. And you
maybe they just aren't revolving doors anymore. That's a piece of tech that's been lost to time. They don't need them anymore.
Yeah, and also there was a period of time in his life where he lived on another planet. What the heck was the name of the planet that Kirk lived on during the whole Kodos the Executioner thing?
I couldn't tell you. That's completely...
Revolving doors are not something that's going to go away.
No. But, you know, I'm okay with it. I kind of get that they're trying to do a little bit of Voyage Home in that sort of joke. It's like the mouse on the computer joke.
Yeah.
You know,
but to do it with Jim...
It doesn't work quite as well for me. I will say this, though. I did not expect the joke with Spock where his version of Engage is, I would like the ship to go. Which makes sense for Spock. It's a joke that fits the Vulcan character. He's very logical. He just says what he wants done. He's not worried about adding some sort of poetic line to it. It's not like Discovery with "Let's fly."
Yeah,
you know, it's I liked it. I thought it was.
Yeah, I liked it too. But you know,
it feels like a very TOS thing, and it's like that's what I like about Strange New Worlds is that it's almost like they're just updating the tone of TOS, whereas Picard Season 3 is updating the tone of Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager.
Yeah.
So the fact that their tones are so wildly different completely works for me because the tones of the original series and the height of TNG are also tonally so different. So that's why Strange New Worlds works for me. And plus, I like the episodic format because I think when you've got the current form of Star Trek where it's 10 episodes and it's one story, if that story sucks or if you don't have enough story to tell across 10 episodes, your entire season is ruined. Like, just look at season 2. Like, season 2 would have been a phenomenal 3 or even 4-part episode, but spread across 10, it was obvious they just had no idea what they were doing.
They just needed
oh,
filler.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what we going to do in I don't know, episode 5 or 6? I don't know which one. It's like, oh, we're just kind of killing time. Oh, we'll put 7 of 9 and Raffi in a car chase for this episode. We've got 10 minutes to fill. I'll make them ride a bus. We'll put the guy from Voyage Home in it as a, shameless piece of, fan service, which I don't like fan service when it's just for the sake of it. I hated that he was on that bus.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think it worked at all.
My biggest
Season 2
problem
in general, I think, is just awful.
Yeah, my biggest problem with Strange New Worlds is just that final episode.
I loved that episode.
I liked it, but the problem is this: when the Romulans are revealed on, the view screen,
yeah, they don't react.
Nobody is reacting the way Styles reacted in the original episode, and this is essentially that.
They kind of gave a little bit to what's her name, the pilot for the ship with the short hair,
Erica.
Erica.
Yeah,
Erica's something. I forget her last name. She's always referred to by her last name. Yeah. Either way, I like the character, but I don't think it works that she was the one to get a little bit accusatory to Spock in the episode, because they kind of gave her that role, but it doesn't work because she's known him for so long.
Yeah,
it kind of worked in Balance of Terror because we don't really know the guy that was accusing Spock. Like, you could theoretically think, oh, maybe they don't work together very often. He doesn't know him, so that's why he can do that. But it didn't take me out of the episode really. I thought the fact that it was all staffed by people that have worked with Spock for all these years kind of gave them enough of an in-universe reason for it.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
But I will say Paul Wesley as Jim Kirk, he's channeling Shatner. He really is.
It's funny. I've seen a load of Star Trek reviewers on YouTube absolutely just couldn't stand him as Kirk, and I never quite understood it myself. I don't think he's as good at playing Kirk as Chris Pine was when he did it. They're the two to compare to. But I thought he was good, I thought he was fine. And plus, it's an alternate timeline, so he's not going to be exactly the man we know. And, he's going to be I don't know if he's just a semi-regular character or if he's just like a recurring guest star in season 2. But either way, he's got time to develop the character a little bit further. And
remember,
there were a lot of people that were dismissing him just based on that one episode, and I really didn't think it was fair.
Yeah, so, I thought he definitely was channeling Jim Kirk.
There were definitely parts like he doesn't look like Shatner. He doesn't walk. He doesn't have the Shatner voice or anything like that, which is probably what people are talking about. Yeah. But there are moments where he would just sort of just this intense look across camera, like to the view screen or whatever, every now and then, or just the way he would sit, and I would be like, it feels like Kirk to me, He feels like Kirk. He's not channeling anything really that I don't think he's really channeling anything that Shatner did, but he's got the spirit, right? Yeah,
just the scene when he shows up on the view screen at the end with all those drone ships.
Yeah, that was great.
And just what he says.
What a Kirk thing to do though, as well. As like that's totally a Kirk play. He's just like so clever and inventive.
Yeah, when he goes to Captain Pike and he tells him, I have a plan, and he says, I need to borrow one of your shuttles.
Yeah,
I could see him really channeling Shatner right at that moment.
Yeah, he's just like, can I borrow a shuttle? And it's like, yeah, I thought it was great. But Strange New Worlds, there are people that I think a lot of people didn't get past the first couple of episodes, which I think is a shame, because it was obvious, at least to me when I was watching it, that the first few episodes were kind of slowly bringing in the Star Trek Discovery fans, because Discovery is probably the least favorite show for most Trekkies, I think, which is a shame because it does have some good ideas now and then. I don't dislike the show. But I think because they knew that they had a bunch of fans that only joined Star Trek with Discovery, maybe they just felt that they had to, ease people in a little bit. So the first couple episodes feel like sort of a hybrid between the tones of Discovery and Strange New Worlds. Whereas as the show goes on, I think especially with episodes like the Elysian Kingdom, where they have the whole storybook thing going on in the ship, that is such a classic sort of Trek idea, and it's so absurdly funny just as a concept that it totally feels like Star Trek to me. It feels like classic old style Star Trek, and there were a bunch of people that said that was their least favorite episode, and I don't get it.
Looking at that episode, you can see that everybody is getting a chance to play against type. I mean, Pike is playing a coward.
Yeah, it was great. And you've got I forget the name of the actress. I forget her name, but she plays the character that's a Noonien Singh. I forget her name.
Yeah.
But she's the descendant of Khan. I like her character. She's very tough and no nonsense. But then they do the Elysian Kingdom, and she's playing this prim and proper princess that's carrying this little dog around and crying and screaming and stuff. And I just thought that's so polar opposite of what she's playing in the rest of the show that I just loved it, And Star Trek has always had those batshit insane, weird episodes, going right back to the start. What's that episode in TOS with the White Rabbit? And it's like Shore Leave or something.
Shore Leave, yes.
Yeah, and it's like apparently when they shot that episode, they didn't actually have any real ideas for it. They just knew that these are the costumes, these are the sets, and this is all the props and stuff that we've got access to. We can use this stuff for free, and they literally just made up an episode around it. And I think that's just so inventive, And I think they did the same thing in TOS with the the episode. It's like the Cowboy Planet or something. It was literally just that a Western had finished shooting the month before, and they just went on and reused somebody else's sets. It's like, unless it was like a standing set at the studio and they always had a Western town. But it's part of what I love about early Star Trek. And I think Strange New Worlds captures that for me. But then again, saying that, if they were to put Terry Matalas in charge of all of the Star Trek shows, I certainly wouldn't be mad at it. Because I think what he's done with Picard Season 3 is nothing short of a miracle, really. Because Season 1 and 2 are so bad. I'm still sore about the way they killed Icheb. I don't even like Icheb, but pulling out his eye in that scene, that was just so needlessly gory and gross and violent. And it's just like, this isn't what I watch Star Trek for. Sure, they've had a few body horror episodes in the past, but they've never gone into like Saw territory, Yeah. So, you expect Tobin Bell to come out at some point. Tobin Bell should play a Star Trek villain. I'm just putting that out there now. He's quite old, so get him in the show as soon as possible, please. Tobin Bell would be amazing as like an older Klingon, or actually,
that's what I was just thinking.
An old Klingon would be great, but an old Romulan might be really fun because he's got that sort of clever vibe going on.
Yeah, except they really can't. They can't do a Romulan right now because if they're doing Strange New Worlds, we haven't met the Romulans yet.
True. I'm talking though for Star Trek Legacy, not Strange New Worlds. Star Trek Legacy is what he wants to call the show that comes after Picard. Following, Captain Seven and Jack Crusher and Raffi, which I think is a great concept for the new show. I hope they move forward with it. I think Paramount and CBS would have to be complete idiots not to greenlight that show as soon as possible, frankly.
Yeah.
I think if Terry Matalas did that, I think it would if he took over all the shows, because I'm sure that Terry Matalas even has some ideas that would be fantastic for Strange New Worlds, you know.
Well, I'm sure he has.
I think if they said to Terry Matalas, like, have you got any ideas like for Strange New Worlds? I'm sure he's got an episode or two in the bag. You know, he let's face it, he was a PA on the final 2 or 3 seasons of Voyager, all of Enterprise. Like, they named the planet Metalis after him in Enterprise. Like, a load of people were like, oh, how egotistical is it? It's, he becomes showrunner of a Star Trek show, and the first thing he does is name a planet after himself. It's like, no, actually Rick Berman named that planet after him way back.
Yep.
The fact that he used it, I just think is fun. I don't think I'd be able to resist myself, but yeah, I think Terry Matalas would have great ideas for all the Trek shows. He probably got a couple of good Lower Decks episode ideas in him.
I hope if he does something, he goes back to the Section 31 base, and we do something with the body of one James T. Kirk.
Yeah, I even Shatner says, like, I saw an interview with him a little while ago, and he was saying that even he now thinks that it's too late. He's just like, he even said, like, I'm so old now that honestly, I don't think it would work. I don't think anyone would see me as Kirk anymore. And I kind of agree, and I hope they do let him move on from the role a little bit now. Just as much as I would love to see Shatner as Kirk one last time, the odds of them doing it well are kind of slim. But then if it's Terry Matalas doing it, maybe it'll work. I'm completely sold on that guy's talent. I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah, and look at the fact that Stewart is the same age as Shatner, and yet he did 3 seasons.
Patrick Stewart's not in his 90s, is he?
He's pretty close.
Let's Google this. How old is Patrick Stewart? 82 years, so he's about 10 years younger.
All right, so it's about the same age,
Yeah, there's not much of a difference in it. And, if they make him an admiral, they can just give him a slight nod or something. Just make Kirk an admiral now. He's not in charge of the ship. Let's face it, you could even put him on a ship for one last adventure. Like, the captain spends most of the time seated anyway. So,
yeah.
We're not expecting him to pull like a Star Trek First Contact, where suddenly he thinks he's John McClane in a vest and he's crawling through Jeffrey's tubes and shit. I still can't believe the TNG movies try to turn Picard of all characters into an action hero. Like, no wonder those movies were a train wreck, apart from maybe First Contact. Although Generations has its moments here and there.
Yeah.
Insurrection, I think, had a good concept, but completely failed in its execution. I think that's the movie that feels most like a TNG episode. But yeah, overall, it didn't.
It also has some elements of TOS in it, because what was a TOS trope? You've got a captain or an admiral who goes nuts and decides to start playing God.
Even TNG did it a little bit, Yeah. There's that running gag, isn't it? That if you see an admiral introduced in Star Trek, they're probably going to be evil.
Yeah. And
they even did it with other captains, like Captain Jellicoe. Some people see him as one of the villains of Star Trek, but actually Jellicoe was kind of right. Like, Riker was being complete and utter dick to him in that episode.
Although
Riker was definitely out of line in that episode, but the script doesn't want us to think that.
Well, he was being out of line, but he was pointing out things that needed to be pointed out. He is the first officer.
But there's ways to do it in Starfleet, isn't there? There's a protocol. There's respectful, like, you take the captain aside if you have concerns. You don't do it in front of the crew, that sort of thing. It's just like everybody on that ship knew that Riker and Jellicoe were butting heads, whereas Star Trek, I always liked how professional the characters in Star Trek are. I just think Riker handled the situation poorly. That's all. You're right. He was saying things though that needed to be said.
Yeah, although I think what Jellicoe said to Troy was out of line.
I forget what he said to Troy. Was it about her uniform?
Yeah.
I'm fine with him making her wear a uniform, but he didn't say it in a nice way. That's
No.
my main problem.
And it's a credit to actor Ronnie Cox, because he made you not like Jellicoe.
Yeah, he was fantastic. It's always great when you see a character playing a character that's an actor playing a character that's supposed to be unlikable. It's why Caption Shaw works so well in Picard season 3, because you start it, you really don't like the guy very much, but as it goes, you start to you love to hate him, but then it's like, oh wait, I actually think I like him now. It's like by the end, it's like, no, they killed Shaw. He was my favorite, and it's just testament to how great the writing was on season 3. It's just such a shame that they brought Terry Matalas in while they were still working on the scripts for season 2 to help. But I shudder to think at how bad season 2 might have been without him, because season 2 is maybe the worst season of Star Trek, in my opinion, that's ever been. Even worse than the first season of TNG or the final season of TOS, which isn't that bad really, but it's easy to dunk on the final seasons of TOS because the budget kept getting slashed. And episodes like Spock's brain certainly didn't help. His brain is gone. It's like, okay, fair enough. I'm pretty sure if the brain disappears, the entire rest of the body shuts down as well. But all right, Star Trek science is fine.
Yep.
Anyway, I think we should maybe cut this episode there. Obviously, we've done the caption contest. We talked a little bit about Superman and Lois, and then we devolved into Star Trek, which usually happens anyway. But at least I gave you a fair warning at the beginning of this episode, which is something I will endeavour to do moving forward. If we're going to talk about multiple topics, I will list them at the start of the show, so you can decide if you actually want to watch all the way through. I think it's a good idea. Also, I just realised I completely forgot to introduce us at the very beginning of this episode as well. I don't think I introduced myself or you in this one. But you know what? Our names are at the bottom of the screen anyway, so...
everybody knows us by now.
Yeah, I think we can just skip saying our names at the beginning. Our names are at the bottom of the screen throughout the entire show. So, honestly, I think, it's not needed. Yep. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching once again. And thank you to our caption contest entrants. Thank you all so much once again. And if you happen to see Benjamin Perlman, our winner for the caption contest, in any of our comments, maybe you could just give his comments a like or something, or reply and say, well done. Something like that. Just might be nice to give him a bit of a congratulations, I think. See you next time. Goodbye.